The alarm screamed through every corridor of Station Harmony 7. Red lights flashed in patterns that hurt the eyes. Ambassador felt his breathing tubes tighten as the station shook violently. Something was very wrong. "Solar flare incoming," Chief Engineer shouted from his station. His insect-like body trembled. "Shields are failing." The solar flare hit like a hammer. The station's protective barriers flickered and died. Radiation poured through the walls. Oxygen began leaking from 3 different hull breaches. The temperature dropped rapidly in some sections while rising dangerously in others. Gasped, the air felt wrong, too thin, too hot, his vision blurred. Around him, other aliens collapsed. The medical officer fell to the floor. Her crystalline body cracked slightly from the impact. The delicate beings from gentle worlds could not handle these harsh conditions. Only 2 figures remained standing. Captain moved through the chaos like it was nothing. The human male walked calmly to the emergency panel. His dark eyes scanned the damage reports. "Hull breaches on decks 4, 7, and 9, he said into his communicator. "What's your status?" "I'm fine," came the reply. Doctor's voice was steady. "Medical bay took some damage. Temperature dropped to -5 degrees. I'm treating casualties now." Stared in shock. -5 degrees. That temperature would freeze his blood. How was the human female working in such cold? Turn 2, "Ambassador, can you walk?" "Barely," whispered. Each breath hurt. "The radiation levels are rising. I need to move everyone to the shielded areas." Reached down and lifted easily. The ambassador weighed nearly 90 kilograms, but the human carried him like he was a small child. Then did something impossible. He bent down and picked up 2 more aliens with his other arm, 3 adult beings. The human carried all 3 without even breathing hard. How managed to ask? "Standard procedure," said simply. He began walking toward the safe zone. His steps were quick and sure despite the weight. Through the damaged corridors they went. Sparks flew from broken panels. Steam hissed from ruptured pipes. The air was so hot it burned skin, but just kept walking. The human did not slow down. He did not complain. He moved through conditions that should have killed him. They reached the emergency shelter, placed the aliens gently on medical beds. "Stay here," he said. "I'll get the others." Watched through the shelter's window as ran back into the damaged sections. The human disappeared into areas where the radiation meters showed lethal levels. Any normal being would die in minutes, but was not normal. The human captain returned again and again. Each time he carried more survivors. His uniform was torn, his face had some burns, but he did not stop. When asked if he needed rest, just shook his head. Not everyone is safe yet. In the medical bay, worked without pause. The temperature had dropped even more. Frost formed on the walls. The oxygen level was at 60%, too low for most species to think clearly, but moved with perfect precision. She treated with lung damage. Her fingers were steady as she worked the alien medical tools. Another alien lay nearby with a broken limb. Set the bone properly, her breath making small clouds in the freezing air. Dr. A's weak voice came through the communicator. "You must leave that area. The cold will kill you." "I'm fine," said. Her voice showed no sign of distress. "Just a bit chilly. I've worked in colder places." I could not understand. Colder than this? What kind of world did humans come from? Hours passed, sealed the hull breaches using emergency patches. The work required him to go outside the station in a basic suit, watched the monitors in horror. The suit was damaged. It was leaking air. The radiation in space was intense, should be dead. But the human just kept working. His movements were calm and efficient. He welded metal plates over the holes. He rerouted power systems. When he finally came back inside, his suit was barely functional. His skin showed signs of radiation exposure. "You need medical attention," said. Looked at the red marks on his arms. They'll heal. I've had worse sunburns." Sunburns? On his home planet, the sun burned people. What nightmare world was Earth? By the 8th hour, the immediate crisis was over. The station was damaged but stable. Everyone was in safe areas, and the two humans had saved them all. Sat in the shelter, surrounded by other survivors. Every alien was injured or exhausted. They had barely survived conditions that were only moderately dangerous by universal standards, but the humans looked merely tired, like they had finished a normal day of work. Entered the shelter carrying medical supplies. Her hair was covered in frost. Her fingers were blue from cold, but she smiled and began treating the more serious injuries. "How are you not dead?" asked bluntly. Paused, she looked confused by the question. "What do you mean?" "The cold, the thin air, the radiation, any of those things should have killed you." "Oh, thought about it. I guess we're just used to it. Earth has all of those things naturally. You adapt or you die. We adapted." The shelter became very quiet. Every alien stared at the human female. Earth had radiation naturally. It had lethal cold and thin air as normal conditions. Entered the room. He was carrying a supply crate that required a mechanical loader to move. He set it down gently. "Food and water," he announced. "Everyone should eat something." He had carried a 200-kilogram crate by himself, without mechanical help, like it was nothing. Felt a chill that had nothing to do with the temperature. He had read the reports about Earth before humans joined the Galactic Cooperative. He knew Earth was classified as a Class 12, one of the most hostile planets ever discovered. He had thought the classification was exaggerated. Now he understood. It was not exaggerated. If anything, it was too gentle. Humans came from hell itself. They were built to survive where nothing else could. Their strength, endurance, and resilience were not special abilities. They were basic requirements for survival on there. And now two of these had just saved an entire station of fragile aliens. They had walked through poison air and deadly radiation like it was a mild inconvenience. They had worked in conditions that would make a battleship uncomfortable. Looked at, and they were sharing ration bars with injured aliens, their faces kind and concerned. They looked so normal, so gentle, but he had seen what they could do. He had seen what they could endure. For the first time in his long diplomatic career, Ambassador felt true fear, not of the crisis, not of the damaged station. He was afraid of understanding what humanity really was, and what they could do if they ever chose to stop being kind. The emergency shuttle arrived 2 days after the crisis began, watched from the observation deck as it docked with the damaged station. 2 more humans stepped out. Jin walked into the station carrying 6 supply containers stacked on his shoulders. His sister followed with equipment that should have required a cargo robot to move. Both humans smiled and greeted the alien crew cheerfully. "Sorry we're late," Jin said. "Had to dodge some debris on the way. How is everyone?" "Alive," said quietly, "thanks to your people." Jin looked around at the damaged station. He nodded. "And did good work. We brought repair materials and food. Where do you need us?" Was already analyzing the structural damage on her portable computer. "The main support beam on Deck 7 is cracked. I can fix that, but I'll need to work in the damaged section. The gravity is unstable there," warned. "It fluctuates between 0 and twice normal. Very dangerous." Shrugged. "I'll manage. I grew up on Earth. Our gravity is already higher than most planets." She walked toward Deck 7 like she was going for a casual stroll. The aliens exchanged worried glances. Later that day, called a meeting in the shelter. All the surviving crew members gathered. The humans sat together on one side. They looked tired but healthy. The aliens all showed signs of their ordeal: bandages, splints, pale skin. "We need to understand something," said. He tried to keep his voice calm. "We need to know about Earth, about what made you like this." Looked at, the male captain nodded. You want to know why we survived when you couldn't? Yes. Stood up, she pulled out a small projector. I'll show you, but I warn you, it might be disturbing. The first image appeared. It showed Earth from space, a blue and white marble, beautiful and peaceful. This is our home, said. It looks nice, doesn't it? Then the images changed. Massive storms that covered entire continents, tornadoes that destroyed everything in their path, hurricanes with winds over 300 kilometers per hour, earthquakes that split the ground open, volcanoes that turned day into night with their ash. The alien stared in horror. This is normal weather on Earth, explained. Our planet is geologically active. The continents move. The Earth shakes. Mountains explode. The atmosphere is so thick and energetic that it creates storms that would tear apart your. The next image showed a tiger, then a bear, then a shark, then a crocodile, then images of smaller creatures, spiders, snakes, scorpions, jellyfish. These are some of Earth's other inhabitants, continued. Almost everything on our planet can kill you, some with teeth, some with claws, some with venom, some with disease. Earth is full of things that want to eat you. I made a small sound of distress. Your whole planet is a war zone. It's home, said simply. You learn to deal with it. Kay, an avian diplomat, was taking notes rapidly. Please continue, doctor. Showed more images. Deserts where the temperature reached 60 degrees. Polar regions where it dropped to -50. Oceans with pressure that would crush most ships. Mountains so high that the air was too thin to breathe. Earth has every extreme environment, she said, and humans live in all of them. We adapted to survive anywhere. Jin spoke up. Can I add something? Nodded. I went for a run this morning, Jin said casually. In the cargo bay on Deck 8 where the gravity keeps changing. Great workout. Every alien turned to stare at him. You enjoyed it? Asked. Sure, back home I run 10 kilometers every morning, in any weather. Sometimes I add weights to make it harder. Jin smiled. Humans need physical stress to stay healthy. Our bodies get weak without it. Felt his breathing tubes tighten again. They needed stress. They sought out difficulty. Returned from her repair work. She was covered in sweat and grease. Deck 7 is fixed, she announced. Gravity went up to 3 times normal while I was working. Really felt that in my legs. She had worked in triple gravity for hours, and she was smiling about it. Kay raised a wing arm. I have a question. Your evolution, how did it happen? What shaped you? Sat down, her expression became serious. Humans evolved over millions of years on Earth. We started as small, weak creatures. We had no claws, no venom, no thick skin. We were prey for bigger animals. Then how did you survive? I asked. We learned to work together. We made tools. We used our intelligence. But most importantly, we became persistence hunters. What does that mean? Answered this time. It means we don't give up, ever. We can't run as fast as most Earth animals, but we can run longer. We chase our prey for hours, for days sometimes. We run until they collapse from exhaustion. Then we take them. The aliens looked disturbed. Our bodies are built for endurance, added. We have more stamina than almost any Earth creature. We can go without food for weeks, without water for days. We heal from injuries that would kill other species. We survived because we're too stubborn to die. Jin laughed. My grandmother likes to say that humans are weeds. You can't kill a weed. You cut it down, it grows back. You poison it, it adapts. You try to get rid of it and it just spreads more. Was writing all of this down in his personal log. His hands were shaking slightly. Kay asked another question. What about your history, your civilization? His expression became sad. Humans have survived 5 major extinction events on Earth, ice ages that covered the planet, volcanic eruptions that blocked out the sun for years, asteroid impacts, plague. Each time we almost went extinct. Each time we survived. And we fought, added quietly. Humans have been at war with each other for our entire history. We've created terrible weapons. We've done terrible things, but we've also learned from our mistakes. We've learned that cooperation is better than conflict. The shelter became very quiet. Finally asked the question everyone was thinking. Why did you save us? You could have saved yourselves and left. The escape pods would have gotten you away safely. Looked surprised. Leave you to die, that never crossed our minds. Why not? Because that's not what you do, said firmly. Earth taught us that survival means helping each other. Humans survived because we protected the weak in our groups, because we shared resources, because we refused to abandon our own. But we're not your own, pointed out. We're aliens, different species. Jin smiled. Humans have this thing we do. We pack bond with anything. We make friends with creatures that can't even talk. We adopt animals that should be our enemies. We care about things that most beings would find ridiculous. We see you as part of our pack now, added. You're our responsibility. That's just how we're wired. Looked at the humans, at these creatures from a world of death and violence, at these beings who could crush any of them without effort. And they chose kindness. They chose to help. They chose to protect the weak instead of dominating them. That night made a new entry in his log. He titled it The Survivors. He wrote about humans and their terrible planet. He wrote about their strength and endurance. He wrote about their capacity for violence. But mostly, he wrote about their choice, their decision to use their power to save rather than to conquer. And he wondered what would happen when the rest of the galaxy learned the truth about humanity. Would they see saviors or threats? Looked out at the stars and felt the weight of this knowledge. The galaxy was about to discover that it had invited into its midst. Everything was about to change. The alarm rang again on the 6th day, but this time it was not hull damage or radiation. This time it was worse. Biological containment breach. A's voice was panicked over the station speakers. Section 12. A pathogen has escaped. Felt cold fear grip his hearts. Section 12 was the research lab. They studied dangerous organisms there, if something had gotten out. Within hours, the first aliens fell ill, developed a high fever. His exoskeleton began to crack. K collapsed, his breathing shallow. One by one, crew members from 11 different species showed the same symptoms: fever, weakness, organ failure. Only the humans remained healthy. Worked frantically in the medical bay. She ran tests on the sick aliens. Her face was grim. This is bad. The pathogen attacks cellular structures. It's fatal to every species we've tested, except humans, finished. Yes, our immune systems are fighting it off easily. To us, it's like a mild cold. Lay on a medical bed, struggling to breathe. His vision was fading. Around him, other aliens were dying. The pathogen was spreading too fast. There was no cure. How, he whispered to, how are you immune? Looked sad. Earth is full of diseases, bacteria, viruses, parasites. Our immune systems evolved to fight thousands of different pathogens. They're extremely aggressive. Anything that enters our body is attacked immediately. She showed him a microscope image. Could see the alien pathogen being torn apart by human white blood cells. The human immune system treated the deadly plague like an annoying insect. Your bodies are weapons, said weakly. Our bodies are survivors, corrected gently. Entered the medical bay. He was another human, a medic who had been sleeping when the outbreak started. I heard we have a situation. What do you need? Explained quickly. I think I can create a cure using human antibodies, but the process is risky. I need someone to undergo treatments that will boost their antibody production to extreme levels. The pain will be severe, a warned from her bed. The treatment will feel like burning from the inside. Rolled up his sleeve. Let's do it. You don't understand, I said. The pain would kill most beings. Even if you survive, there could be permanent damage. Looked at the dying aliens around the room. They need help. That's all that matters. Start the treatment. Watched as strapped to a medical bed, she inserted several IV lines. This is going to hurt, she warned. I know. The treatment began. Saw's face twisted in agony. The human's muscles tensed. Sweat poured down his skin. His body shook violently. Any other being would have died from the shock, but gritted his teeth and endured. How is he alive? Whispered. High pain tolerance, said quietly. Humans can endure incredible suffering. We evolved to keep functioning even when badly injured. On Earth, showing weakness meant death. Hours passed, screamed several times, but he never asked them to stop. He just kept enduring. His body was producing antibodies at an impossible rate, fighting the infection even as the treatment damaged his own tissues. Another human scientist, arrived to help. She took blood samples from and began synthesizing a cure. I can modify these antibodies to work in alien biology, she said, but I need time. How much time? Asked. More aliens were dying. They had maybe 12 hours left. Give me 10 hours. I'll have something by then. Worked without stopping. Watched her through the window of the lab. She did not eat, did not sleep, did not rest at all. Her hands moved with mechanical precision over the equipment. Her eyes stayed focused. At the 8-hour mark, I tried to call her. You must rest. You've been working for over 60 hours total. Your body needs sleep. I'll sleep when everyone is safe, replied without looking up. You'll collapse. No being can function this long without rest. Smiled slightly. I once stayed awake for 80 hours during a medical emergency on a colony ship. This is nothing. The aliens realized they were seeing another aspect of human evolution. Humans could push their bodies far beyond normal limits when necessary. They could ignore hunger, thirst, exhaustion, and pain to accomplish a goal. Finally, after 9.5 hours, emerged from the lab with vials of clear liquid. I have it, the cure. Began administering it immediately. One by one, the dying aliens received injections, felt the medicine enter his bloodstream. Within minutes, his fever began to drop. His breathing eased. Around him, other aliens showed the same improvement. It's working, I said in wonder. By the next morning, every alien was recovering. The pathogen was defeated. The humans had saved them all again. But noticed something that disturbed him deeply. During the crisis, had been running additional tests. She had exposed herself to the pathogen deliberately, multiple times, injecting herself with concentrated samples to test her theories. Why did you do that? Asked her. You could have died. Looked confused. I needed to understand how the pathogen worked. The fastest way was direct exposure. My immune system could handle it. But you didn't know that for certain. I was reasonably sure, and even if I got sick, my body would fight it. That's what human bodies do. She had risked her life casually, like it was nothing, like dying was just an acceptable possibility in her calculations. Thought about what he had seen, enduring agony to produce antibodies, now working for days without rest, deliberately exposing herself to a plague. These were not acts of desperation. These were just normal human responses to a crisis. They saw a problem and they fixed it, using their own bodies as tools and weapons. That night called a private meeting with the other senior aliens. They gathered in a secure room. We need to discuss the humans, said. They saved us, Kay pointed out, again. Yes, but think about what we saw. They used their own biology to cure a plague. Their immune systems destroyed a pathogen that killed 11 other species. They deliberately infected themselves to study it. Spoke slowly. You're saying humans are living weapons. I'm saying humans could conquer the entire galaxy if they wanted to. We have no defenses against them. Their bodies are better than our best armor. Their immune systems are better than our medicine. They can endure conditions that kill us. They can work without rest. They can survive on any world. But they haven't tried to conquer anything, Kay argued. They've only helped us. So far, said quietly. But what happens in the future? What happens when there are millions of humans in the galaxy instead of just a few? What happens if they decide we're in their way? The room fell silent. I don't think they will, said softly. I've watched them carefully. They genuinely care about us. It's not an act. They really do see us as part of their pack, as they call it. Today they do, agreed. But can we trust that will never change? No one had an answer. Outside the meeting room stood in the corridor. He had not meant to overhear, but human hearing was sharper than the aliens realized. He had heard every word. He understood their fear. It was rational. Humans were dangerous. Earth had made them into perfect survivors, and perfect survivors were inherently threatening to everyone else. Walked to the observation deck. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, his terrible, beautiful, deadly home, the world that had tried to kill his ancestors for millions of years, the world that had made humans into what they were. He thought about's question, what if humans decided to conquer instead of protect? Knew the answer. Humans had already conquered Earth. They had beaten every predator, survived every disaster, outlasted every extinction event. They had won their world through strength and stubbornness. And then they had looked at their victory and decided, never again. Never again would they be the predators. Never again would they use strength to dominate. Because humans remembered what it felt like to be prey. They remembered being weak. They remembered being afraid. And they had decided that no one else should ever feel that way if they could prevent it. Hoped the galaxy would understand that. He hoped they would see that humanity's greatest strength was not their bodies. It was their choice to be kind despite having every reason not to be. The tensions on Station Harmony 7 grew worse over the next few days. The aliens had recovered from the plague, but their minds had not recovered from the truth about humans. Some crew members refused to enter rooms where humans were present. Others whispered in corners, their eyes following the humans with fear. A group of younger aliens from warrior species began talking about the threat. Watched it all with a heavy heart. He had created this fear by sharing his concerns, but he could not unsee what he had learned. Humans were too strong, too resilient, too dangerous. Ho arrived on the next supply shuttle. He was an older human with gray in his hair and kind eyes. He introduced himself as a cultural liaison. I heard there's been some tension, he said too. I'm here to help. I don't think you can help this, said honestly. Your people are too different from us. We don't understand you. Then let me explain us. Ho gathered all the crew members in the main hall. Humans and aliens sat separately, a clear divide between them. Ho stood in the middle. I know you're afraid. I know you've seen what humans can do and it scares you. That's okay. Fear is a rational response to the unknown. You're not unknown, one young alien said angrily. You're deadly. You come from a world of poison and death. You're built to survive where nothing else can. You could kill any of us with your bare hands. Yes, Ho agreed calmly. We could, but we won't. How do we know that? Ho smiled sadly. Because of what Earth taught us, you see our strength and you're afraid, but you don't see the full picture. Let me tell you a human story. He pulled up an image of ancient human cave paintings. Thousands of years ago, humans lived in small groups. We hunted, we gathered, we survived day by day, and we had a rule: we protected the weak. Why? Asked. The weak slow you down, they consume resources. Why not abandon them? Because we were all weak sometimes, Ho explained. The strongest hunter could get injured. The gatherer could get sick. The bravest warrior could grow old. We learned that today's strong person might be tomorrow's weak person. So we protected everyone because someday we might need that protection ourselves. He showed more images. Humans caring for elderly members. Humans helping injured companions. Humans sharing food with those who had none. We survived because we cooperated. Not because we were individually strong, but because we were collectively strong. Earth tried to kill us alone. We survived together. Kay raised a wing arm. But what about your wars, your violence? We've read your history. Ho's expression became serious. Yes, humans fight. We've fought terrible wars. We've done horrible things to each other. But every war taught us something. Every conflict showed us the cost of violence. And slowly, over thousands of years, we learned that cooperation is better than competition. We still have conflicts, added. We still disagree. But we've learned to resolve most problems without violence, because we've seen what violence costs. A young alien security officer stood up. His name was, and he was from a proud warrior culture. You say you choose peace, but I've seen how strong you are. Why should we believe you won't use that strength against us? Because we remember being weak, said quietly. Every human remembers stories of our ancestors struggling to survive. We remember being prey, being hunted, being afraid. And we decided that no one should feel that way if we can help it. The hall was quiet. Then alarms blared again. A catastrophic alarm this time, the worst kind. Core breach, the computer announced. Reactor destabilization in progress. Station destruction in 30 minutes. Everyone rushed to the command center. The displays showed a critical failure in the station's power core. The reactor was melting down. It would explode, destroying everything. Can we evacuate? Asked. Not enough time, said. The escape pods need 20 minutes to launch safely. We have 30 minutes total. By the time everyone boards, the station will explode. What about shutting down the reactor? Someone would need to go to the core chamber and manually override the safeties. But the chamber is experiencing catastrophic conditions. Extreme radiation, temperature over 300 degrees, and the chamber is depressurizing. No protective suit can handle all three at once. Felt his heart sink. They were all going to die. Sung spoke up. She was a human pilot who had arrived with the last supply run. I'll go. Everyone turned to stare at her. No, said immediately. The conditions will kill you. They'll kill you faster, Sung pointed out. I can survive longer than anyone else here, long enough to complete the override. But you'll still die. Sung looked at him calmly. Maybe, maybe not. Human bodies are tough. I might make it. The survival chance is less than 5%, said, her voice shaking. 5% is better than 0%, Sung said. She started walking toward the core chamber. Grabbed her arm. Sung, this is suicide. Someone has to do it, Sung said simply, and I'm the only one who can. Why? Demanded. Why would you die for us? We've been afraid of you. We've treated you with suspicion. Why would you sacrifice yourself for beings who don't trust you? Sung smiled. Because that's what humans do. We see someone in danger, we help. We see someone suffering, we try to fix it. It doesn't matter if you trust us or like us. You need help, that's enough. She pulled away from and walked to the equipment locker. She put on the best protective suit available. Everyone knew it was not enough. The aliens watched in silence as Sung entered the core chamber corridor. The monitors showed her progress. The temperature was already at 200 degrees. The radiation meters were in the red zone. The air pressure was dropping. Sung kept walking. At 250 degrees, her suit began to fail. The monitors showed her body temperature rising to dangerous levels. Any alien would be unconscious by now. Sung kept walking. At 300 degrees, the suit completely failed. Sung was exposed to raw heat that should turn her into ash. The radiation alone should have killed her, but she reached the control panel. Her hands were shaking. Her skin was red and blistering. but she began entering the override codes. In the command center, every being watched the monitors. No one spoke. They saw a human dying to save them. Why, whispered, why is she doing this? Because she's human, Ho said softly. This is what we are. Earth made us strong so we could protect others. This is our purpose. Sung finished the override. The reactor began shutting down safely. The countdown stopped. The station was saved. But Sung collapsed, and Jin ran to the core chamber. They found Sung on the floor, barely conscious. Her body was burned and radiation poisoned. They carried her to medical bay. Worked frantically. She's dying, she said. The damage is too severe. But Sung was still breathing. Her heart was still beating. Slowly, impossibly, her body began to heal. The burns started to close. Her vital signs stabilized. Hal stared in shock. Human regeneration, explained. We heal from almost anything given time. She'll survive. She'll have scars, but she'll live. 3 days later, Sung woke up. She was weak and bandaged, but alive. The aliens came to visit her one by one. They brought gifts. They apologized for their fear. They thanked her for her sacrifice. Came last, he stood by her bed, his proud warrior face showing shame. I called your people a threat. I said we should fear you. I was wrong. You weren't wrong to be afraid, Sung said. Her voice was hoarse. We are dangerous. Earth made us into weapons, but we choose not to be. That's the difference. I understand now, said. True strength is not the ability to hurt others. It's the choice not to, even when you can. Watched from the doorway, he thought about everything he had seen. Humans walking through poison air to save them. Humans enduring agony to cure them. Humans dying to protect them. And he finally understood. Yes, humans were. Yes, they were dangerous. Yes, they could destroy any species in the galaxy if they wanted to. But they had been given strength and chose kindness. They had been given weapons and chose peace. They had been given every reason to become predators and chose to become protectors instead. That was what made them truly exceptional, not their strength but their choice. And realized the galaxy needed that choice. The galaxy needed beings who were strong enough to protect the weak, who were tough enough to face any threat, who were kind enough to use their power only for good. The galaxy needed who chose to be heroes. The Galactic Council ships arrived like a fleet of judgment. 12 massive vessels, each representing one of the major species in the cooperative. They surrounded Station Harmony 7, their weapons powered but not aimed, a show of strength without direct threat. Stood in the docking bay as the council delegates entered. At the front was the Arbitrator Prime, a being of pure energy contained in a crystalline shell. Behind them came representatives from every corner of the galaxy. Ambassador, the arbitrator's voice resonated. We have received your reports about the humans. We are here to evaluate whether they pose a threat to galactic peace. I see, said carefully. He had sent those reports. He had documented everything the humans could do, and now the council was here to decide humanity's fate. The council gathered in the station's main hall. All the alien crew members were present along with all the humans. Jin, Na, Ho, and Sung stood together. They looked calm but could see the tension in their shoulders. Entered last. He was Earth's senior ambassador, a distinguished older human with gray hair and steady eyes. He bowed respectfully to the council. Ambassador, the arbitrator began. We have read the reports from Station Harmony 7. They describe humans as exceptionally strong, resilient, and dangerous. They describe humans coming from a world so hostile that it is classified as a Class 12. Is this accurate? Yes, said simply, all of it is true. Murmurs ran through the council, had not tried to downplay anything. He had admitted it all. Then you understand our concern, a council member said. You come from a world that creates warriors. You possess abilities that make you superior to most galactic species. Why should we allow such beings to join the cooperative? was quiet for a moment, then he spoke. "You're right to be concerned. You're right to fear what Earth made us, but you're wrong about what that means." He walked to the center of the room. "Yes, Earth tried to kill us, every day, every season, every year. Our planet threw storms at us, earthquakes, volcanoes, ice ages, predators, diseases. For millions of years, Earth was our enemy. And it made you strong," the arbitrator said. "It did," agreed. "It made us strong so we could survive, but it also taught us something else, something more important than strength." He gestured to the alien crew members. "It taught us that everything dies alone, but together we survive. The humans who lived alone on Earth died. The humans who worked together lived. We learned cooperation in the face of extinction. We learned to protect the weak because we were all weak once. We learned that strength means nothing if you don't use it to help others." A council member from a species spoke up. "Words are easy, Ambassador. How do we know humans will keep choosing cooperation over conquest?" "Because we've already been tested," said. He pointed to, "Ask him. Ask any of the crew here. They've seen what humans can do. They've seen us at our most powerful. And they've seen what we chose to do with that power." Stood up, his legs were shaking slightly, but his voice was firm. "The arbitrator asked me to document human capabilities. I did, but I also documented their choices." He pulled up images on the main display. "When our station was damaged, the humans could have taken the escape pods and left us to die. They chose to save us instead. Captain walked through lethal radiation to seal hull breaches. Doctor worked in freezing conditions to treat our injuries." More images appeared. "When we were infected by a plague, the humans could have quarantined themselves and let us die. Instead, they used their own bodies to create a cure, endured agony to produce antibodies. Now worked for days without rest to synthesize medicine, deliberately infected herself to study the pathogen." The final image showed Sung entering the core chamber. "When our reactor was failing, any human could have escaped on a shuttle. Sung chose to enter a chamber that should have killed her. She nearly died saving us." Turned to face the council. "Yes, humans are dangerous. Yes, they're stronger than us. Yes, they could kill any of us easily, but they won't. Not because they can't, because they choose not to, and that choice is what makes them trustworthy." The council was silent. Then stood. Her crystalline body still showed cracks from her injuries. "I was afraid of humans at first. I thought they were monsters, but I watched treat my wounds with gentleness I didn't think possible from such strong hands. I watched her cry when another crew member died. Humans feel deeply. They care deeply. Their strength is matched by their compassion." Stood next. "I am an engineer. I value efficiency and logic. Humans are inefficient. They use their strength to help others instead of to advance themselves. They waste energy on beings weaker than them. By pure logic, this makes no sense. But I have learned that human logic is different. They measure success not by what they gain, but by who they save." One by one, every alien crew member stood and spoke. They told stories of human kindness, human sacrifice, human choice. Finally stood the young warrior who had feared humans most. "I come from a culture that values strength above all. I thought strength meant the ability to dominate others. Humans taught me I was wrong. Strength means the ability to protect others. Humans are the strongest beings I've ever met, and they use that strength only to shield the weak. They are what all warriors should aspire to be." The arbitrator Prime's crystalline shell glowed brightly. "Ambassador, the Council has a question, a critical question. What happens when humanity's population grows, when there are billions of humans in the galaxy instead of just a few thousand? What happens when become common instead of rare?" Met the arbitrator's gaze steadily. "The same thing that happens now. Humans will help. Humans will protect. Humans will build and create and work alongside other species, because that's who we are." "But what if you change?" Another council member pressed. "What if future humans decide to become predators instead of protectors?" Expression became hard. Then we would fight them. Humans would fight those humans harder than we fight anything else, because the greatest enemy of humanity is not aliens or plagues. It's the possibility of becoming what we've always refused to be: monsters. Stepped forward. Our world taught us what monsters look like. We've seen them in our history. We've seen what happens when strength is used to dominate instead of protect. We've seen the damage that causes. That's why we choose differently. Not because we can't be monsters, because we've seen what monsters do and we decided, never again. Added quietly, every human child learns about our history, the wars, the cruelties, the times we failed to be what we should be. We teach those lessons so we never forget, so we never become that again. Our strength comes with a responsibility we take very seriously. The council members conferred among themselves in low voices. The tension in the hall was thick enough to cut. Finally, the arbitrator prime spoke. The council has reached a decision. Humanity will be granted full membership in the Galactic Cooperative. Relief swept through the humans, but the arbitrator continued. However, humanity will receive a special designation. You are classified as a guardian species. What does that mean? Asked. It means the galaxy recognizes what you are. You are dangerous. You are strong beyond measure, but you have proven that you use that strength only to protect others. Therefore, in times of crisis, humanity will be called upon to defend the cooperative. You will be our shield against threats. You will be guardians of the weak. We accept that responsibility, said formally. There is one more condition, the arbitrator said. Humans must continue to prove their peaceful intentions. You must continue to choose cooperation over conquest. The moment humanity becomes a threat instead of a shield, this designation will be revoked. Understood, said. We will not fail that test. The council ships departed the next day. The station slowly returned to normal. Repairs were completed. New crew members arrived, including more humans and more aliens willing to work with them. Found in the observation deck one evening, the human was looking out at the stars, a contemplative expression on his face. Are you worried? Asked. About the responsibility. Smiled slightly. Not really. Protecting others is what we do. It's what we've always done. The galaxy will test you. They'll test all humans, constantly. I know, but we'll pass those tests because we remember what Earth taught us. Looked at, do you still fear us? Thought about it carefully. Yes, he admitted. I still fear what you could do if you chose to, but I trust what you will choose. That's the difference. That's all we can ask for, said. They stood together in silence, human and alien, looking out at the galaxy they would share. Thought about the journey they had all been on, from fear to understanding, from suspicion to trust. The galaxy had learned about. They had learned about beings forged in fire and violence. They had learned about strength beyond measure. But more importantly, they had learned about choice, about humans who were given power and chose to use it wisely, about warriors who were given weapons and chose to be shields instead of swords. Humanity had passed the test, not by hiding what they were, but by showing that strength could coexist with kindness, that danger could coexist with compassion, that could choose to be heroes. As left the observation deck, he made one final entry in his log. He titled it simply, Hope. Because that's what humans represented now. Hope that strength could be gentle. Hope that power could be kind. Hope that the galaxy's defenders would always choose to protect rather than conquer. Earth had tried to create monsters. Instead, it had created heroes. And the galaxy was better for it.